I have a completely different path than you. So I used to not feel my feelings for a really long time.
Ladies and gentlemen,
you are now about to witness
the journey that is the Lyfe Choyces podcast.
Yeah!
I feel like it's going to be very emotional for me today. I don't know why.
Good. Let's do that.
As soon as you walked in, you said you just had a very wonderful meeting.
Yes.
Chaired.
I chaired a meeting at my home group of AA, and the speaker was absolutely amazing. I went to a different meeting months and months ago, and he was the speaker, and there was just something that changed within me, which happens a lot with powerful speakers, but he had talked about like what God is, just his spiritual connection and his journey and his path. And he just has such a great way of delivering the message. I told him that, his share was really impactful. And I was like, I'd really love to have your number in case there's ever the opportunity that I can have you speak for me. And so I got his number, and I tried to, put his name in the basket for a couple other people in situations, and it didn't work out. And then finally, I wasn't even supposed to chair this month. And the person that had something with work come up and asked me if I would cover the rest of May. And I was like, yeah. And then I thought of Brian immediately. And I texted him and I was like, hey, I need you to speak. And he said yes. So he delivered such a powerful message once again. He does quote a lot of music, like the Beatles, and just a lot of it has to, if you really think about their lyrics, it is very spiritual in the way of just like all you need is love. And, I'm not a huge Beatles fan, so I don't.
I am a huge Beatles fan, and I totally know your point, because a lot of John Lennon's lyrics, Paul McCartney as well, but a lot of the group's lyrics, they were just speaking truths about life.
Yeah.
And that's why I believe they were so impactful at that time, and that's why they've been so generationally amazing, because there's anybody that's ever listened to music has listened to the Beatles.
Right.
And most of their messages is literally just about love and self-love and loving everybody and community.
Yeah, which is really, to me, that is spirituality. And when I think of religion and all that stuff, it gets really jumbled in my head, because there's so many rules and there's just so many different perceptions of what that looks like. And it's messy in my head. But when I think of spirituality, and that it is love, and that I love all human beings and all my brothers and sisters and all living things, and just have this gosh, it's so cheesy.
No, it's
just so much joy inside of me when I feel that way, when I feel spiritually connected to the divine.
There's
That's
nothing
what that
wrong
is.
with it. It's a good thing to be proud
I know,
about.
it comes out of my mouth. I'm like,
Well, because we've been brainwashed for so many decades and so many lifetimes that we should be shunned for saying such things or feeling such things, because the general public, their brains aren't open. Their hearts aren't open to the idea of having a lifestyle like that. I am overly nice when I'm at the gym, because I just genuinely want to share being nice with people.
Yeah.
And I notice that when I do that out of the goodness of my heart, for no ulterior motive, it's a tough word for me to say. Mm-hmm. I notice that I get it back tenfold. When I walk into the gym, people are happy to see me.
For sure.
And that's because I gave them that joy.
You bring the energy.
I try to. As we had discussed moments before we started recording, we were talking about being present, and how I said it's been a struggle lately, that I understand the importance of being present, because I don't want to worry about yesterday, and I definitely don't want to stress about tomorrow. That's part of one of my morning rituals, is to say that. To be present, for me, I have to remind myself so many things. I have to, in the morning I wake up, before I do anything, I tell myself to be present, to not worry about tomorrow, to just focus on the activities of today. But I notice throughout the day, I have to keep bringing myself back into the moment, so I can appreciate that moment. Something as simple as driving my truck, going over the Southern Bridge, heading to the gym, and I get to look out my car window, and it's still lightish, dark but lightish, because I get up early. And I get to see the moon still hanging up in the sky while the sun is also rising. And I cherish that moment.
Yes, I had a moon moment this morning too before I went to the gym. I think a couple things that I just thought of as you were speaking is that I think you said, I don't want to worry or I practice not worrying, but I think I heard something that was pretty transformative for me in that your brain, there's something psychological with it to where it doesn't understand the can't or the don't, or it just hears the worry part. And so you're enhancing this word in your vocabulary. And instead of using that, it's so beneficial to go a different route with like a positive affirmation versus saying, I don't want to fill in the blank with whatever it is you don't want to do. Figure out, I allow myself to be fully present in each moment.
The universe does not differentiate between do's and don'ts. It doesn't know that. I don't want this.
Correct.
To the universe says, I want this. It cannot hear that word. So you're 100% right, because I've talked about this before. When you say, I don't want this to happen, I don't want that to happen, you're actually perpetuating the situation and you're bringing that closer to you.
It's negative trickery.
Yes. And it's something that we've not been taught necessarily, most people, how to navigate through that. Mm-hmm. And I'm educating myself right now. I've said this probably on the past like 6 episodes. Those 4 books at the top of the table are all written by Dr. Joe Dispenza. Do you know him? Have you heard of him? Mm-hmm. So he talks about the neuroscience, and he's teaching me right now how to get myself to that point of letting go of the big 3, which is basically regardless of what's going on inside of you physically or mentally. Like if you're sick, you still go do the work. If your environment is not good, regardless, you still go do the work. And he's like, the way he talks about changing the way you think or the way you say things, because your thoughts create your reality. Mm-hmm. So I'm becoming more conscious about my thoughts regularly, because instead of just driving around and having thoughts flow through my head and then fixate on negative ones or past experiences that I don't like, which create a chemical reaction inside of yourself to just, again, perpetuate the feeling and bring forth more of it. Mm-hmm. I consciously notice every single time a negative thought comes in my head, and I try to not just push it away. Like I try to, like, again, not solve it. I just try to appreciate it, accept it for it being there, and then move towards something else that's more presently good in my life. I still find it difficult. I still find that I'm having struggles with the present, staying present.
It's a practice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a good practice. And it sounds like you're working towards, a goal. I think when you were saying, keep working towards it, it's almost just being mission driven and knowing that your mission is maybe just to be happy and be more present. And then to change those thought processes. Our own self-talk is so powerful.
And it's important.
I find myself drifting into places sometimes where, it's less and less more lately. But I have days where I just, sometimes this negativity will boil up. And I have tools now where I call a friend and I talk about it. And I'm like, hey, I was having this thought. Or I have this funk going on, like something's going on with me. I'm not my like happy, joyous, free self right now. Restless, irritable, and discontent. And I need some help. And usually the more I talk about it, it just dissipates. It disempowers that thought. And I realize like this is old patterns that are just seeping back up because they're still there. And I'm learning how to sit with those feelings and process them and share them and get through them and then dismiss them, let them go. And I would say like 95% of my time and my days, I am just happy, joyous, and free. I'm just
You've
loving
gotten to
life.
that point, yeah. I want to say, because I talk about it all the time, but all my practices, I just feel that like the past couple months, there's been more of a dip down with little dips up, you know what I'm saying, and then back down. And I'm just trying to not worry about what my mission is, because I believe he has something so great for me that it's going to happen in ways that I don't expect it. It's going to happen in way bigger ways. Like the result is going to be so much more fulfilling for me than anything that I've ever thought it could be. I'm just trying to navigate the ability to have even more faith and belief in myself and him
Mm-hmm.
than ever before. I notice that when I am very specific with something, as silly as like a silly thing might be that you ask for, and as grand as something might be, the more specific I am with the whole thought, the visualization, and the desire to have it, the quicker that comes. The struggle, I want to say that I've noticed because, there's the whole like woke culture or becoming more conscious of your thoughts. I don't like the stigma that's on that because I think we should all want to be more aware of what it is going inside of our heads. I've noticed that, and again, this kind of gets thrown around there, being an empath, which means you have empathy for people, which means you can understand going through what they're going through or feeling what they're feeling. And I notice that a great deal of my day when I'm not joyous, when I'm not really filled with like, oh, I just love this moment, all the moments I have in a day, I notice that there's not really much of a middle ground for me. I'm either really, really up top, like really good energy, happy, talking with people, exchanging information and experiences, or I'm laying there and I'm so feeling of what someone else might be going through. Like I'm not going through anything specifically bad to be feeling pain emotionally, psychologically, but all of a sudden I get this overwhelming like weight and I just feel emotion.
Why do you think that you feel like you need to take that burden on?
That's probably the most poignant question, which I've asked myself obviously multiple times. I don't know if that's just my construct, like if that's just the being that I'm in, because I'm a strong believer that this vessel, this temple, is one part, and then my soul is another, and they've been matched together for this specific human experience, however long this one might be. This individual's construct, as I get older, I just feel like taking on other people's worries. Like I'm not actually taking on someone's like stress. Like I'm not taking person A, B, and C's whatever into me. Like, I can't even articulate it, I guess, right now. I just feel their pain and I don't want other people to feel like that. So I almost like, I guess that's why I feel like I should take it, because I just don't want others to
Do
feel that
you
badly.
think that you're doing any good for yourself or for them by allowing those emotions to take over where you're at?
For some reason, I think there's a bigger reason for why I'm doing that. Like it's almost like it's a necessity right now for me to go through this particular module in order to get me to the next stage, the next level, get out of this cocoon into the next.
I don't agree with you.
No. Okay. Well, let's talk. Let's figure it out.
I think that, I've definitely been in a place where I would absorb or would take on other people's emotions because I thought that maybe I didn't even think about it. It just kind of happened.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like I'm not going out of my way to do it.
Yeah.
I just seem to absorb it.
But I realize that, I think just being more and more in touch with feelings and feeling them. I mean, I have a completely different path than you. So I used to not feel my feelings for a really long time because I drank my feelings away in a major way for a long time. So for me, feeling my feelings now means a lot more because I didn't for such a long time. I ran from them and I escaped constantly. And now I'm at a place where I face them and I feel them. And sometimes it's uncomfortable. But I know that I cannot take other people's feelings on or their burdens, but I can be here for them. If they need to talk to me, if they need a sounding board, if they want someone to empathize with them and to have compassion, I can practice that. But I won't walk away from that feeling burdened by what they're going through. And I'll just be here and be, where I'm at and in my strength. And I think that that's more helpful to them, and it's definitely more helpful to me.
Right.
To remain true to myself and know that I'm safe, which I practice that a lot. Like, I am safe in this life. I have nothing to fear. I don't fear death. I don't fear anything. I can't think of anything that I fear.
I'm absolutely
honestly.
with you on that. Like, I've had this conversation with other people about getting in a plane. You know, a lot of people are nervous about flying. And when I'm in a plane, my first thought is I'm okay with whatever happens. I'm very happy, very content with my life. I've traveled to more places than most people will ever get to in their life. I've seen things. I've been around certain individuals. Like, I've experienced things that there are some people out there that they will never see or get a chance to do. Like, I've lived mostly basically as a crew member on yachts for
Right.
18 years.
Right. You've had a fulfilling life.
Oh, like, I've given my life through food to other people and received such great admiration from it to the point where I've been taken around on their private planes to their estates. Like, I've really enjoyed life. The fear, I'm not afraid because I have absolute faith in God that he will always have my back,
There you go.
regardless.
There you
That
go.
he has me financially, physically, mentally, and emotionally. And I discuss that with him daily. Like, there's not a day that goes by that I don't thank him for all of that. And I know there's a thing. Someone has created a new page on TikTok where it says, can I ask you a question? Or if I can ask you a deep question, and they're really good questions, and they make you think. And so I answer them. And one of them was something about if death sat down beside you today and said you only have this much time left, what would you say? And I said, if that's his decision if his decision is to take me from living in order to help someone else live, I'm okay with it. Because you have to think it like that, right? If you're being taken away from this human experience, it's to make room for someone else to have a human experience. So I don't fear it at all. Like, I'm ready whenever he's ready. There's a lot I'd like to do. There's a lot I'd like to help others, but I'm not afraid of anything. I'm just currently in a chapter where I almost feel like I need to go through some shit. Like, I haven't gone through enough already, but I feel like it's hard to explain. It's weird because
That is so interesting.
yeah, well, I don't want to. I don't like going through those dark moments that we all have.
Yeah. So
You
it's almost
know?
like you're feeling the urge to change. And a lot of the times our change and our growth happens through stages of discomfort. Right.
Agreed.
But that you're craving it almost.
It's a weird like, as you speak about it, which is like you're saying, you have people that you can call when you have those moments. It's not that I don't. I can think two people off the top of my head, my roommate and my buddy Stevie, that I could probably have these conversations with. I just feel that. No, I think it's two separate things. Like, I don't think it's a craving to go through it. I feel that, like, I feel like I'm at the door. I'm at the door of the next situation, the next level, the next, like I say, coming out of the next cocoon, but there's some weirdness that I'm trying to get through to get to that another moment of, like, epiphany, of happiness.
Okay. I've gone through some cool things this month so far. I did some traveling to Austin for work. We had a team build, and this was we do a team build every year. This year, there was a guest breathwork / hypnotist that was invited. And she's related to one of our executive leaders through marriage. And so he just knew of her through that and invited her to come work with us. There were about 30 of us in a corporate building, carpeted floor, AC running, like in the middle of Austin. And I went in, and I say that because, like, I went into this with, like, no expectations. I've never been hypnotized before either. And we all laid down on this floor, and we started the breath work. Well, she went through exactly what we were going to do before we started it, so that trust was there. And I followed the breath work pretty closely. And, there were some distractions around because there's other people doing it. And, there's the people that I know just from work. And as she started guiding us through the hypnosis part, I went in. And she had said some things afterwards, like, I don't hypnotize people. They hypnotize themselves. You have to be able to surrender. You have to be able to let go and get into it. But there was this vision that I was brought to within myself, and it was shape shifting, and it was very animalistic. There was like a falcon face. It was like on this human form, and it was like turning and shifting into like a bear and just different things. It's so hard to describe, but I'm trying. And these were my personalities that have built up over the years of like defense. Some would say building up a wall, or not letting people in, or past childhood traumas and things that or the entertainer, the person that needs to like make people laugh and make people happy. Or I feel like I need to bring justice, and everyone has a right to be heard, and just all these different personalities like shifting in front of me. And then it was kind of this conversation of like, embracing all of them and thanking them for their service and for being there when I needed those personalities to show up to get me through whatever I was going through, and then to ask it and allow it to work with me now that I feel safe and secure, and that I'm in a place in my life where I don't need to perform anymore, and I don't need to have a wall anymore, and I have faith and trust in people, and mostly in myself. And the tears were streaming down, and I was just like gasping for air through like these silent tears that I was going through. And I was just like, oh my God, this is nuts. And then, she brought us back, and we all sat up, and someone came over to try to talk to me. And I couldn't even like have a voice, like it cracked. And then I like had nothing to say. And I like grabbed my phone and opened up the notes, and I just started typing in like, so I wouldn't forget, but I'm not forgetting. And then I got her contact information, and I'm like, I would love to do some one-on-one with you. I'm in Florida, you're here in Austin. She goes, most of my stuff is online anyway. Like I do a lot of it so that people can be comfortable in their own homes. So I have something coming up with her, and that's helping me to just thinking about going into that again, and then just talking about what that experience with you right now is just showing me like how much I'm ready to also just keep continuing to evolve and grow as a person, so that I can be a better person for those around me, and feel just even more content with myself all the time. Then the week after that, I went skydiving. I jumped out of a plane in Sebastian. And my oldest daughter went with me, and she went right after. She just went to Italy by herself for a couple weeks, and she got back like 3 days before the skydiving. I was like, "Are you sure you're going to be down for this?" She's like, "Yeah." She's 20, so she's ready to go. And it was just, we were up there, and like none of us were feeling any fear. And I was with my friend Heidi and her dad. We were up there for his 68th birthday and 28 years of sobriety he was celebrating. And it was just, oh my God, the adrenaline spike, first of all, and then that feeling of falling, and then seeing the earth, like, and feeling the air, like the temperature change as you fall, and then, the parachute opens and you're gliding, and oh my gosh, I was like, this is living. So I'm a little bit hooked on that. And then as soon as we landed, I was like, I have to lay down on the earth and feel it. And I just felt like
More connected.
grounded, and just my entire body, like everything. When I look back at the picture, and I'm just like pressed up against the earth, not out of like fear, but almost just out of like re-grounding myself after being so far up in the air and coming back down to the energy.
Almost like you're reborn.
Almost.
Like you have a whole new light, a whole new way of looking and feeling about all of this.
Yeah. And then as I talk to other people, they're like, "Oh, I was worried about you," or "Weren't you afraid?" And I'm like, I don't do any of that. So like, that's on you. If you want to have that worry, like I don't worry. I'm a mom, and I don't worry. Like my kids are good. They're going to learn their lessons. We're all going to go through life. Like I don't know if it's because of what I've gone through or just where I'm at or my age, but like
Um,
nothing's gonna fuck with us.
Yeah,
Like
a mixture
we're
of
good.
everything. A mixture
I just
of
have
everything.
trust. I have
Yeah.
so much trust.
But I think what
Um,
you're saying is like you have trust in yourself, you have belief in yourself.
It's more in God.
Okay. It's the faith.
It's the faith.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, and I feel that I'm on that journey to become much more in tuned and aligned with my faith and letting go of any little bits of worry or stress that I still obviously hold on to.
Yeah.
And I do look back at like my life. Like I'm like look back at like my childhood, my teen years, my 20s, my 30s. So hypnosis sounds like a good possibility for me to look into as a new way of possibly getting through whatever it is that I feel like I'm still lingering around with.
Yeah.
Meditation, we talked about earlier, the discipline of meditating regularly. I had talked to myself about it for many years. Over the past, let's say 3 months is when I actually decided to start doing it, because I believe that it's one of those things that if I add it to all my other practices over time, the results are going to be just so much better for me as an individual. Right now I do it, I want to say 2-3 times a week. And I do a little bit when I wake up, like when this first turns on, before I open my eyes, I'm in my bed and I before I allow the worries of the day, I meditate first on the things I actually want to have happen. And so therefore they do happen. 30 minutes later, once I've done my morning routine, I'm sitting outside with my dog and everything's done. All my writings, all my prayers, everything is done. And now I take 5 minutes of quiet to just sit there and I close my eyes. I don't sit in any certain way. I just sit there on the bench and close my eyes. And I'm learning how to meditate in a way that I can focus on the visualization of what it is I actually want to do, not just like in this moment, but this is where kind of like the future-ish thoughts come in, because I want to focus and visualize what it is, who it is that I am, let's say 5 years from now, so that I can figure out, and this comes from Dr. Joe, so I can figure out what is it that he does every day to maintain all of his happiness, all of his successes, all of his work, and start implementing that today. Because the whole theory is live today the way the person does 5 years from now, so that you can collapse the time, whatever that might be. That's a whole other conversation, what time is. But collapsing that time so that you can actually start enjoying it, because you know what that feeling, like I know what the feeling of joy is. When you get that first job as a teenager, when you get that first award of whatever sports you like, I know what pure joy is. What that person receives and has 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, attach that joy. This is like the lessons I'm learning is attach that joy to that feeling as if you have it now and live with that feeling right now. So all of that's going on inside of my little meditation from the little bit of information I've read about meditation. I'm definitely focusing in on learning how to meditate. I want to say proper, or at least learn techniques of different ways so I can find the one that works best
There you go.
for me.
I like that. I like the word techniques. I don't know that there's a proper way. I practice surrendering and letting go anytime those thoughts start processing. If I even have them, like what if, or what's going to happen, or what are my goals in 5, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter, because as long as I've surrendered and let go, and I'm being my true self, and I'm helping others and bringing that joy and that energy into the gym, into the airport, I'm having conversations with people that, like, my network is growing like crazy. I was sitting in the airport on the way back from New York last week and had gotten this conversation with 2 other people from Boynton, and one of them started asking me about colostrum and supplements, and I was like, oh, let me tell you about what I know. And like we exchanged numbers, and now we're, chatting and we're friends. And it's just like, I don't even have to do anything. I just have to be my best self in every single moment. I don't have to worry about those 5 years. When I'm meditating, like I don't have a perfect meditation practice. I don't have a very consistent, like, I sit down in a lotus position for 30 minutes. And I hate to say that, I'm not judging it. If someone has something that's very structured, that's for them. But like, I might be meditating while I'm swimming in the ocean. As long as I'm staying in the present moment, I could be meditating while I'm grocery shopping, driving. Like, I am in this moment when I see the moon in the morning. Like, that's a meditation. That's a practice of being connected with like the divine and the present moment. Yeah.
It's all a practice, everyone. That's what we talk about here. Practice, practice, practice. Thank you very much for coming through for my therapy session this week.
It's been my pleasure. Anytime.
Thank you very much, everyone out there, for coming back each and every week. We'll see you next week right here, as always, Tuesdays, 2 p.m. on the Lyfe Choyces podcast. Much love, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen.
You are now about
The Journey, Lyfe Choyces podcast.